Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. Imagine being crowned king at age 8. Not in some fairy tale, but in real ancient history. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary story of King Josiah, who transformed an entire kingdom before most of us finish high school.
And what makes this story even more fascinating is that we have both biblical accounts and archaeological evidence to back it up.
Right? It's like finding a teenager's diary, but it's actually carved in stone and buried for thousands of years.
According to the historical records, Josiah became king of Judah in 640 BCE, following the assassination of his father, King Amon.
Wait, so he inherited not just a kingdom, but also what sounds like some serious family drama?
Exactly. And he inherited a kingdom in religious and political chaos. His grandfather Manasseh had filled the Jerusalem temple with pagan altars and idols.
So basically, this kid is handed a mess to clean up.
A massive mess. But what's remarkable is that by age 16, historical records show Josiah had already begun seeking religious reform.
You know, it reminds me of those young tech CEOs today, taking charge of billion-dollar companies in their 20s.
Interesting parallel, but with much higher stakes. We're talking about the fate of an entire kingdom and its religious identity.
Fair point. So what exactly did young Josiah do?
By age 20, he launched a massive campaign to purge idolatry from the kingdom. But the real game changer came when he was 26.
What happened then?
During temple renovations in 622 BCE, workers discovered an ancient scroll, the Book of the Law. Think of it as their constitution and religious manual combined.
And this discovery changed everything?
Completely. Recent archaeological findings actually support this narrative. We've found administrative seals and bullae, clay impressions, from this exact period.
Hold up, they found actual physical evidence?
Yes. In 2019, archaeologists discovered a clay seal impression belonging to Nathan Melech, an official mentioned in the biblical account of Josiah's reforms.
That's incredible, finding a name from an ancient text literally stamped in clay.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The reforms weren't just religious. They were a complete economic and political overhaul.
What do you mean?
By centralizing worship in Jerusalem, Josiah also centralized the economy. All religious offerings and taxes now flowed to one place.
So it was kind of like establishing a national bank?
In a way, yes. And archaeological evidence shows a marked decline in local religious artifacts after this period, suggesting his reforms were quite effective.
But not everyone must have been happy about this centralization, right?
Exactly. Local priests and religious centers lost their power and income. It was a massive shift in both religious and economic power.
You mentioned archaeological evidence earlier. What else have they found?
Well, excavations at Megiddo have uncovered fascinating evidence of the final chapter of Josiah's life.
The battle where he died?
Yes. They've found Egyptian pottery, weapons, and even human remains showing battle wounds consistent with the biblical account.
That's pretty grim evidence.
It is, but it helps us understand the geopolitical situation. Josiah died trying to stop Pharaoh Necho II from helping Assyria against Babylon.
So he was caught in the middle of ancient superpowers?
Exactly. Judah was like a small startup trying to navigate between Google, Apple, and Microsoft.
That's a great analogy. But it didn't end well for Josiah, did it?
No, he was killed in battle at age 39. The Babylonian chronicles confirm this happened in 609 BCE.
Still pretty young, even by ancient standards.
And his death had massive consequences. Within a few decades, Jerusalem fell to Babylon and the temple was destroyed.
So all his reforms ultimately couldn't prevent disaster?
No, but they had a lasting impact on Jewish religious practice and identity that continues to this day.
How so?
His emphasis on centralized worship and the importance of written scripture became fundamental to Judaism and later influenced Christianity and Islam.
That's quite a legacy for someone who started ruling at age 8.
And we're still finding new evidence. Just recently, more administrative seals from his period were discovered in Jerusalem.
It's amazing how archaeology keeps confirming these ancient accounts.
Though sometimes it challenges them too. Some scholars think the Book of Law discovery might have been staged to justify reforms.
Wait, like a political move?
Possibly. Ancient rulers often used religious authority to strengthen their political power.
Not unlike some leaders today, right?
Exactly. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
But what's really fascinating is how much we actually know about this period.
Yes, between biblical texts, archaeological findings, and contemporary records from Egypt and Babylon, we can piece together a detailed picture.
It's like a 2,600-year-old jigsaw puzzle.
And we're still finding new pieces. The Nathan Melech seal discovery shows how much more might be waiting to be found.
What do you think is the biggest lesson from Josiah's story?
That age doesn't determine capability. Here was someone who implemented massive reforms while still technically a teenager.
But also that even the best reforms can't guarantee success?
Exactly. Sometimes larger historical forces overwhelm even the most well-intentioned changes.
It's quite a sobering thought.
But also inspiring. Josiah's reforms influenced history far beyond his own lifetime.
And we're still talking about him today.
Which shows that meaningful change, even if it seems to fail in the short term, can have lasting impact.
Not bad for an 8-year-old king, right?
Definitely not. Though I imagine the crown was a bit big for him at first.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Copilot Podcasts. From child king to religious reformer to tragic hero, Josiah's story shows that great leadership can come at any age.
And that archaeology and ancient texts can still surprise us with new revelations about the past.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Remember, you're never too young to change history, but maybe check both ways before challenging Pharaoh's army.